Hi, everybody. This is the January 21st, 2026 meeting of the Finance Committee. And the meeting is being recorded. And Laura, could you take the roll call, please?
Sure. Councillor Clemmer.
Here.
Councillor Davis.
Here.
Councillor Maori.
Here.
And Councillor Robbins.
Here.
Thank you. So at this meeting, the highlights are that we're going to elect a chair and a vice chair. It's the first meeting of the new term. I want to welcome all the new councilors here. And then we have financial orders on the agenda too, which we'll talk about, and then a discussion about the independent audit procurement process. So I'd like to open up the floor to elect the president, the chair of the Finance Committee. So if anybody would like to nominate somebody or nominate themselves, this is your time to speak up, please. Councillor Davis.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Clemmer.
Thank you. Okay, is there any other nominations?
So I'm considering nominating myself. I don't know if we could have a discussion about that, maybe after you want to present whatever.
Well, the way it works is that we take the nominations for president, for chair, and then the person who's nominated will give their acceptance or reason why they think they should be in that position, and then we go around and
I do understand
people
that.
an
So
opportunity.
I'm actually asking if maybe we could have a little discussion before we do that. Is that possible?
And just a point of information.
Yeah, thank you.
You can withdraw as well.
Before the vote?
Before the vote. You
okay.
you can have a discussion and then just withdraw your nomination if you'd
So-
like, either anyone. Like,
Yeah, I'll do that.
okay.
I mean, not that I'm going to do that.
So
because
should
I'm
she
thinking- I
nominate
just need help.
herself and then?
Yeah, and then if
And then-
she doesn't want to go to a vote, then we can
Withdraw,
just
okay.
withdraw.
So, yeah, if you'd like to nominate yourself.
I'm considering, I will, yes, I will nominate me.
Okay,
next.
so Councillor Robbins is nominating herself for Chair of Finance. Are there anybody else? Make it a full house? Okay, so thank you for the nomination, and I'll talk, and then Councillor Robbins, you can go after, since you were second. So I appreciate the nomination, and I was very excited to be on finance this term. I wanted to be on it last term, but because of the senior counselors, didn't have that opportunity. But this term, I have a vision that I want to work with everyone on this committee and council. Over my last term, I went through 2 budget seasons and worked tirelessly for many hours to understand how the very complex budget works. I want to use my experience to make sure this term's Finance Committee gets the work done and welcomes different ideas and points of view, and is a cohesive, functional, and collaborative committee. Councillor Robbins.
Is it okay if we use like first names in this in the committee?
I prefer that we call each other by the counselor.
Even in committees where it's a little more casual, maybe?
I think that's a little too casual, so I'm trying, maybe later down the road we can,
Like next time?
well, whenever, we'll see
All
what
right,
happens.
thanks.
To vote on that.
Okay, so I'm considering nominating myself as chair of this critically important committee. But as a first-term counselor, I'm respectful of the council's tradition of chair by seniority, although only Rachel has served as a member of finance thus far. As we know, council finance serves as the check and balance on city budget and expenditures. I was elected by an at-large majority based on my platform to work to bring the perspective and voice of city residents to their funding priorities and to monitor how we do so. I take that charge very seriously. I'm a seasoned and professional facilitator, both as a teacher and in many years working with school districts on strategic planning. I've run my own company. I have an educational background in economics. I have had, as a school committee member, a deep immersion into our Northampton city budgeting practice. I served on the school committee rules and policy and was chair of the curriculum committee, where I created agendas, facilitated meetings, and brought in those professionals closest to our students to identify best pathways to support learning. I don't want to create division in how we work together, and our ability to work well together and focus on what best serves resident needs is, to me, paramount. Our commitment here is to recognize that the Finance Committee serves the will of the people and in the reasonable functioning of essential city services. And while we work with the mayor, we are an independent entity reporting only to City Council and to residents of Northampton. We make recommendations based on independent analyses of best practice. We honor the habit of mind that we consistently operate as a check and balance to the work of the mayor. And, sorry, Councillor Clemmer, here's my thinking, okay, which is if I choose to put my name in for chair, I likely would, or not to put my name in, I would likely seek election as vice chair dependent on committee votes. But in that role, should I be voted in, I would want to be assured that all agenda setting would emphasize our collaboration on creating and approving all aspects of that agenda and having the entire committee see it and weigh prior to posting, as we can within open meeting law. Additionally, as chair, I would really hope that you would agree to honor a consistent facilitation focus on open minds, democratic dialogue, and a focus on decisions that best prioritize the essential services defined and expressed by our community. And as chair, that you would honor our efforts to differentiate and prioritize need from want. And as chair, you would remind us at every meeting that we serve the people of our city. And that's pretty much what I've been thinking.
It's like 3 paragraphs back. Where
What's the
you're
lead?
saying about what you expect to, if you withdrew your nomination, something to that effect?
What I would expect if I were vice chair?
Yeah, that part, like where it starts, where you start talking about that.
Sure.
Could you just read that little section, please?
Yeah, so it would be that I would hope that as chair, if you were chair, because you're.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that you would agree to honor these various things. Do you want me to go through it again?
Maybe briefly, yeah. Just
Okay,
that, just
all
that
right.
paragraph.
So consistent facilitation focus and, sort of ground rules of open minds, democratic dialogue, and a focus on decisions that prioritize the essential services defined and expressed by our community. That's really key. And then the other part was really having the vice chair be very inclusive in agenda setting. So those are my thoughts around that.
Okay.
And I don't know, do we have discussion now around that? How's that work?
Usually the other counselors
Yeah,
will
right.
weigh in and talk about who they're going to support and why, or if you'd like. So, Council President Maori,
Yeah, I think I guess in a subcommittee, I'm just counselor.
you just hopefully know
Because
Council,
I'm not going to say vice president, because that would actually get confusing. Anyway.
Vice President Chair.
Yeah, no, we'll think about it. Yeah, so we clearly have some great choices here, and the truth is, I'd be happy with either of you chairing. A chair facilitates and presides over meetings, and I'm really confident that you would both do a good job at that. I know, Debbie, you would work diligently as chair. I appreciate Meg's new ideas to steer finance into some deeper systems critical thinking, and her commitment to ensure this subcommittee be more of a relevant, proactive vehicle for our constituents. Meg, I think you're brilliant, and I'm so glad that you're on this committee and can bring that. And you're right, as an at-large counselor, you really bring some representation in a certain way. So what I wish for this term on finance is that, most importantly, that we are able to listen to dissenting voices, collaborate, be willing to sit sometimes in discomfort, and share a collaborative goal of serving our community in a thoughtful manner. And this is really up to all 4 of us. I know Council Robbins has previous chairing experience as well, which is unusual sometimes for new counselors, and lots of financial know-how. Councilor Clemmer has chairing experience specific to council. Councilor Clemmer has stated, and this was important to me, like you just did, that she's committed to welcoming new ideas and perspectives. and being responsive to our input and working collaboratively with the vice chair. So an elegant solution to me would be to have her as chair and Council Robbins as our vice chair, with the public acknowledgement that the vice chair would have input and collaboration. And this would be a good position for learning for the vice chair as well as contributing. It's for this reasons I would support Council Clemmer for chair and hope to nominate Council Robbins for vice chair. And together you two are the representative bridge this community needs right now. I feel fortunate and excited to serve with both of you, and I know that we can all have a particularly productive term on finance, especially in light of these challenging times. So that's where I'm at, and when Councilor Robbins was speaking, I was thinking that's a great agenda item right there, kind of something we don't always do in the beginning of a subcommittee term, but to have a discussion about, kind of an intentional discussion about, about kind of ground rules or guidelines to how we unpack things and what we want to do and how we're going to engage the public. And I think that would be something I would like to see happen. Just really take that paragraph and kind of go over that in a discussion. So anyway, so that's where I'm at.
Councillor Davis.
Thank you. I nominated Councillor Clemmer because, for this position as chair, because she's experienced, and I really value that. She's curious and works very hard all the time. And I am impressed with Councillor Clemmer's steady communication with constituents, and this is finance is something that people want to know about, and I think that she'll be able to communicate that clearly with Ward 2 and with everybody, and as well as with us. I think that finally, I don't have as long a speech as everybody else, we'll be able to run these meetings efficiently and well and respectfully to everybody. And that's all I have to say about that. And I guess I was thinking that the chair and vice chair, like we did for the full city council, were a whole separate thing, but it sounds like maybe we're moving into do it all at once.
We'll do
So
that.
I was just procedurally, I was just wondering about that.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Officially do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's less
Okay.
of us here, so there's
Okay.
less choices, and
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. thank you. Anybody else have any comments or?
I guess the only other comment I'd make is I think I've been, so I was the chair for 4 years, 2 terms, and it's an increasingly challenging role. And I actually think the idea of, really utilizing the vice chair role and collaboration is more important than ever. I think it's kind of something we have to do now. I think the job has actually changed, and the committees have a lot to field, and that's part of the answer. So, yeah.
Great. Anything else?
I'll just add and build on that I still haven't made up my mind, but I'm almost there. That I really do take the role of being an at-large counselor pretty seriously, and that means being able to say that the decisions that we made in this group were knowledgeable, they're responsible, and that we've listened to the people who put us here and whose money we're spending, one way or another. So I'm hoping that we can have also an underpinning of how we make sure that we've done that before we make decisions. So that would be maybe part of that larger discussion about, so what would our responsibilities be in checking in to make sure we know what folks are thinking, what they want, and that those are their priorities.
Just to say, I would support you on that. And just for the public, if two, I'm sure that the chair would welcome agenda items, but 2 counselors on a subcommittee can also submit anything to the agenda. And it would it would appear. So I support you on that. Thank you for the idea.
Anything else?
Sorry,
Sure.
no, I'm trying to not be bossy.
Laura, roll call, please.
Okay, Counselor Clemmer,
Counselor Clemmer.
Counselor Davis,
Counselor Clemmer.
okay, Counselor Maori,
Counselor Clemmer.
and Counselor Robbins. Counselor Clemmer.
Counselor Clemmer, sorry, I didn't put my button on.
Okay, thank you, everybody. And now I'll move on to the nominations for vice chair. Counselor Maori,
Yeah, I'd like to nominate
Robbins.
Counselor Robbins.
Anybody else want to nominate somebody or themselves?
A second? No, we don't.
Okay, so we can follow, oh,
Well, maybe Counselor.
well, do you want to say anything else or modify your
What I
last?
said before.
Okay. Okay, so we can follow the same procedure then, and Councilor Maori, do you want, since you made the nomination, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I alluded to this before, but I think that Counselor Robbins has an exceptionally analytical mind and has, I really appreciate the original ways she thinks of to kind of engage the public, and maybe it's also the teacher thing, but for example, your comments on the SIP and how to present information in a way that we're actually, the public can actually absorb it. Those are great questions, and we don't always ask them. So I know you have a lot of ideas, and I really would like to have this space to explore them, because I think you offer something very unique. And you do come in with more know-how and experience than some counselors do at this point. And so I think we'd be very fortunate to have you in a leadership position.
Anybody else would like to speak to the nomination? Okay, I'll just say, Councilor Robbins, I'm excited to work with you, and I think a lot of our viewpoints are different, so I think it'll be really good. And I ran on collaboration and mending what's going on in the city, so I think this will be a good start to doing that. And finance is where people are watching these days, so yeah. Anybody else? Laura, roll call.
Sure, Counselor
Please.
Clemmer,
Councilor Robbins.
Counselor Davis,
Counselor Robbins.
Counselor Maori,
Counselor Robbins.
and Counselor Robbins.
Counselor Robbins.
Okay, congratulations, Councilor Robbins.
Okay.
So now, public comment. And is there anybody that would like to say anything?
Let's see, let me pull up.
Councilor Stratton. If there's anybody.
I'm watching the.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, are you doing the time?
Yeah.
Yes, Chris Stratton, Ward 6 City Councilor. I'd like to congratulate Councilors Clemmer and Robbins. I kind of wish we could all be on finance, but, under our rules, it's 4, and this term it will be the 4 of you. So I would just, like to remind you that you are the council's financial research arm. You can examine issues in more detail. You can take more expanded and more interactive testimony from the public. And you will be presented with proposals and positions from the mayor, from tradition, from the traditions of schedule in recent years. And these are ideas worthy of respect and consideration. But I would encourage you to remember and be aware of the differences between our laws, our ordinances, our administrative code, versus what is a position, and really just one of many possible positions or traditions under our laws. And, in that light, you have an order before you tonight to take basically 1/3 of our free cash, 2.1 million out of roughly 6, and use it in a way that's become traditional, at a time that's become traditional, But that is only one of the possibilities available to the city and the council. And, you know, as many of you know, tomorrow, the school committee is meeting to try to compare notes and examine service shortfalls in the school, and to, you know, possibly trying to do a mid-year appropriation or something. That is one of many competing needs in this city. And, you know, we don't know what the group insurance trust is going to come back with us for healthcare costs. You know, there's all these things that we read in the paper are blowing up in other cities as crises. And I have to assume that we may see some of these too. So there's a lot on our plate financially this year. And I would encourage you to keep that in mind and keep in mind the possible benefits of preserving flexibility. And that's not to say that putting money into the stabilization funds couldn't turn out to be a good idea. But, you know, if a few months down the road we conclude that is wise, then I think we could, you know, ask the mayor to add the interest that had been earned in the meantime into those appropriations. Thank you.
Sorry, that's very loud.
Thank you, Councilor Stratton. Is there anybody else? I don't see any hands, do you?
I don't see any hands, no. Oh, wait, I think one just went up.
There's one.
Lori?
Lori. Lori, do I have to?
Yeah, I don't think I'm a co-host. Yeah. Yeah, we have to unmute her. Or them.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Councilor Loisel.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to thank you for all you've done so far for smoothly electing leadership. But I wanted to read something I got from a constituent in Ward 3 after the last council meeting that's relevant to what's on your agenda. She said, it seems, this is somebody who's lived in Northampton for a very long time. Seems to me that pushing revenue has the potential to decrease free cash. If we push revenue estimates and spend free cash on recurring expenses, isn't that burning the candle at both ends? It's a game of sorts, finding what, so let me see what else. As much as I would like to see schools get more funding, I cannot agree with the twisted logic of some in our community. The worst part is that their position leads to distrust of the mayor, school officials, and some city councilors. The prospect of children going off to school with a negative view of their schools and their city troubles me. So I just want you to know that there's lots of opinions in the city, and not everybody. Some people feel like we need to be conservative and careful in how we spend our money. So, thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Loisel.
I believe.
And Councilor Nabad. So,
Yep.
Aminos, hello, Councilor Nabad. I'm sorry to look so, I guess, green. I'm on the road, charging my EV. But I just want to say that thank you to you all for serving in the city, and thanks to everyone who's serving in the city. And I just want to say that I'm really happy about what I just saw and everyone working together. It really matters a lot. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the financial orders go tonight. Thank you.
thank you. You look like a stand-in for Wicked.
I look like an alien. I look like an alien.
I don't see anybody else.
No, that's it.
You good?
Sorry, skip
Okay.
my type.
Great, thank you, everybody.
I see, yeah, okay.
And so next we'll look to approve the minutes from the previous two meetings, from May 2nd, 2025 and June 16th, 2025.
Move to approve the minutes of May 12th and June 16th.
Okay, Councilor Maori makes a motion to approve. Is there a second? Councilor Davis seconded it. So we can just do voice vote, right? Yeah, so we could, Laura, please just a voice vote?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions or what's the other one?
Opposition, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that got approved unanimously, so I'm moving right along here. Okay, so now we're at financial orders. So this was referred to us from the city council meeting on January 5th. It's 26.003. No, 15, oh, the 15th, sorry, time flies. 26.003, in order to appropriate $2.1 million free cash to various reserve accounts. It says it right there, too. Okay, so Director Nardi gave us and the mayor gave us a presentation at the 15th. Does anybody want to see, Mayor Shara?
Hi, good evening, councilors.
Hey.
We're happy to answer questions. I think that Director Nardi wanted to address something that didn't get addressed at the last meeting. And I just wanted to note something that I heard in public comment from Councilor Stratton, said that the allocation of free cash to these stabilization funds, he referred to it as a way that has become traditional. I just wanted to clarify that this is not tradition. Actually, this is following our financial policies that the city established. And we created those with a community compact grant that allowed us to work with the Collins Center to create financial policies that are, based, as we talked about before, on best practices of DOR and also the Government Finance Officers Association. So I just wanted to respond to that. But I have for you all, I don't know if you had a chance to look on DLS, but I just printed out the free cash best practices, which were updated in January 2025, that I can give you all. But there are other best practices in addition, but this is the one that I just had at the ready for you all. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
And then Director Nardi, I don't know if you wanted to
So, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to mention at the last meeting that there was a comment mentioned about DOR, and they are regulations that we have to follow when we set the tax rate and when we prove our revenue. There was a mention about the 20%, but you can't just set revenue at a rate that you higher than what you received last year unless you can prove that there was a change that you can actually meet that revenue level. So it's not just writing and saying, we hope, we believe we can do it. It needs to be able to say, we increased our rates. We did something concrete that's the only way you can set revenue higher than what you actually received. There is regulations that state you are within 20%. If you are above 20%, you have to state why you are doing that, because they don't want you to meet your the top threshold of your revenue. And if you are 20% below, you have to state why you're doing that as well. So there's regulations that we follow by DOR. They review every city's tax rate. We are not doing anything out of the norm. We are following the rules and regulations based on DOR and our policies. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Also, Council Stratton, I think he said that we only get interest in the free cash if it's not moved into the stability funds. You didn't say that. Okay, thank you. So could you just clarify what you said then?
I mean, if the money is moved into the stabilization fund, then the interest starts accruing there. If it's not moved in, then it would still be accruing elsewhere. I was just saying that the proposal could be increased or rewritten at a later date to include the interest that had been accrued from today until that later date.
Okay, thanks. Director Nardi?
So free cash does not gain any interest. There would be no, if you did, you would take more free cash from something else. Our policy was to split it into thirds, so interest does not get added to the certified free cash.
Okay, thanks. Okay, does anybody have comments? Councilor Rob? Councilor Mary?
Okay, so, yeah, right, I appreciate this as part of our policy. I guess at this point, I see no significant downside. So when it was referred to finance, we have 60 days. And that's, I don't know if we'll need all that, but I don't think there's any significant downside in waiting until we clarify about the mid-year appropriation, a possible mid-year appropriation for the schools. And after the mayor's presentation of our budget outlook forecast next week. So I don't know, it just feels like it's harder to issue a recommendation right now without knowing how it all fits in with those two events coming up. So, you know, things like looking at the Fiscal Stability Stabilization Fund, you know, I would look at it a little differently if we're going to draw from it for a mid-year appropriation, you know, that may change, you know, that's a whole conversation there. So for that reason, I think we should delay the vote on this and until our future meeting, which could be, you know, right after those events. So I would make a motion to postpone the recommendation on just 26.003.
I'd second that.
Yeah.
Oh, but we could still,
Yeah, we can
Okay.
still talk, yeah.
thank you. Councilor Robbins, you had your hand up earlier.
The discussion now is the motion that's on the floor, which is postponing it, and I agree with that rationale. We are a new committee. We haven't really had a time to ask more questions. I have lots of questions, and more information provided before making a decision. So given that there's no rush, it feels like it would be a very good idea to just hang on and give it a little bit more time.
Councilor Davis.
My understanding of I'm confused by the suggestion about waiting and why that would hinder a possible use of the money for some mid-year appropriations. Because my understanding, could be incorrect, but I was pretty sure it wasn't, is that the money's not locked away once it's in the stabilization fund. Am I right about that? That it can still be used there, and so I'm wondering what the difference might be with waiting to not do that or recommending. It's still us recommending, like the city council has to
Right, we'll talk
vote on it
about it.
anyway. So like, this is not a done deal anyway. Even if we recommend it, they could say no. So I guess I would need clarification on what the pros and cons would be of the difference between those two things.
So, yeah, so that money's not locked away, and it's actually there to be used in two of the funds. And then also, there's still a third of the money, which is 2.1 million, plus 500,000 left over. So we have 2.6 million in free cash that will still be available. Director Nardi or Mayor Sherry, do you want to add anything? Talk about that more? Or?
Just to the question about whether it's
Councilor Davis is like,
usable.
why, what's the point of waiting?
Excuse me.
Is that correct?
The money is still accessible. I'm sorry, I didn't raise my hand.
Anyway,
Just to clarify that if we recommended not to wait per se as a hearing, but to say, no, it could, should, I don't know what the proper word is, go into the capital stabilization fund, it's still accessible, should the council say, hear from the school committee and their suggestions for mid-year appropriation, that still is an option, right?
Yes, and there's still free cash that remains liquid, so to say, right? It all is. And just to note that this is also going into the Fiscal Stability Stabilization Fund, which we have used.
That's what I meant to say.
And we've taken $5 million in the last 3 years out of that fund to put into the Northampton Public Schools. So it's adding money to that fund that we've taken a lot of funds out of in the last 3 years. as one of the stabilizations.
Thank you. Councilor Maori?
Yeah, yeah. And yet precisely that was part of my point too, is that the amount that I as a counselor would want to see go into that stabilization fund might be impacted by mid-year appropriation. We might want to put more or not. I mean, to me, it's not a do or die moment because the mayor is the one who's going to, have to, issues, we can't move the money around, we can't take out. So the mayor, will make that decision and she'll take it from these sources. So it's not a do or die thing, but I think to me, there's no downside in waiting, and what would happen tonight if we don't, is we're not going to be, I don't have the confidence in this moment to positively recommend this back to full council. So if we don't delay it, I'm going to have to issue either a negative or neutral recommendation. So the benefit of waiting is the hopes that we could all get onto a positive recommendation.
Just a clarifying question. How long are you proposing we wait?
So I believe the school committee is meeting tomorrow. I'm not sure, and then there's the budget presentation next Thursday. So, I think I would feel more confident issuing a recommendation with those two pieces of critical information known to me.
Director Nardi?
I just want, I just wanted to clarify that also, if you pass this order, there's $4.2 million left in free cash.
Yeah, great. Yeah, right. Oh, sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Councilor Robbins?
Thanks. And I feel very similarly. There's no rush. I want to make sure that I'm part of a committee that makes really intentional decisions about what we do and very knowledgeable decisions about what we do. And certainly we have a past practice of following this policy. But as Councilor Stratton said, it's not in an E-code, it's not something that's locked in stone, it's a recommendation, it's one we've done in the past, and there's pluses and minuses around it. And the amount that gets allocated is one it would be great to be able to know more about and discuss. So making the time to do that intelligently and knowledgeably and not just say it's how we've always done it, I think would behoove us, especially because members of the public certainly have let us know that they would appreciate our doing that. And it doesn't hurt anything to wait a little bit, so it would be good to honor that.
Councilor Maori?
Just, yeah, and so you as chair would set a time and to revisit. So it's not a lot of time that I was thinking of at least. And also just a point of, information, which is, it's, Councilor Davis, it's true. The way that you can use free cash, though, is different than the stabilization funds, which are considered non-recurring. And we do sometimes, especially in limited, we did use the fiscal stability stabilization funds for our mid-year appropriation. And then we rolled in a small amount to reoccurring. So there's just, there is a distinction on that, but I agree that if it's the will of the mayor and the school committee and that source of that money, the mayor, that's in the mayor's purview, really, how, and we don't take out that money. We don't decide where those sources necessarily. We can certainly recommend. All right.
Okay, Mayor Shara?
So yes, and also according to DOR and all sources, free cash is considered non-recurring revenue. They are very clear that free cash should be considered a non-recurring revenue source in its entirety.
Right. But, the climate stabilization, for example, that's not something that has a specific mission. And so in that way, it does limit and protect the money for that. I mean, that's the two sides of it. So it does kind of, by doing that, you are kind of siloing it into different, and that's why a conversation that would be interesting to have, would be about the fiscal stability stabilization fund, which is more likely to be able to use, for example, for a mid-year appropriation. But that really depends on what this mid-year appropriation would be about. I don't want to assume too much about what that is. If it's personnel, is it books? Is it, supplies? Is it something that does fall into climate or the special ed? So I'm curious about that, and I would be more confident issuing a recommendation in a couple weeks or a week and a half or whatever, a week and a half, or depending on what the school committee's schedule looks like.
Oh, Counselor Robbins.
And I feel we could also be more knowledgeable after we've heard the mayor's presentation on the draft budget. So it just makes good sense to wait and see.
Ed, I mean, there is a lot of money left over, even if we do allocate this money. I do want everybody to feel good about how, it being done and the process. What I would like to do if we do decide to postpone this is have a meeting the Wednesday before the next council meeting so we can make a recommendation at that council meeting. Because if we postpone it, we don't have a meeting till March 5th, and I think that's a long time to wait. And I want to be respectful of Director Nardi and the mayor's time too, because assuming they will be back here again, but if people are available that night for a meeting, then I think we could pick it up, and it would be good to have more information about what the members of the school committee are planning to do.
That would be,
So, yeah.
that would be
the 4th?
February 4th? No, you can't do it?
Right, that's my town hall. Yeah.
Oh,
hoping
well,
we'll all be
but
there.
perhaps we could, perhaps the chair, we could, well, this is a conversation we're going to have about when we meet. But we could certainly have a special meeting or
Yeah.
a different time. I don't know what
Yeah.
time you're.
Does
you can work
the
out with
Tuesday work for everybody, Tuesday the 3rd?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Wednesday. I could do that. I think so, yeah, wait, we're not, just lose it. Yep, that works for me.
Yeah. Director Nardi and Mayor, is that?
Sorry, what time on the,
So we're talking now about Tuesday, February 3rd.
at what time?
We didn't pick a time yet. Is there a time that works for people? I'm flexible after 4:30.
Not before 5,
Not
it
be-
sounds like.
Okay, so 5 or 5:30 or
I feel like that's okay.
5?
Well, you could meet in another,
They meet in this room.
we could see if the hearing room's available.
Or,
Laura, are you able to see the schedule for the rooms? I don't have the, Charlene's gonna.
February, and, yeah, oh, and TPC won't interfere, no,
No,
that's another time. Is
that
it
was just,
Tuesday?
yeah, so it's the
Okay.
3rd
Third.
Tuesday.
Third, right, so that, just want to make sure.
Yeah, Monday city services, so that won't work.
And what's your, what's the time of your town hall on Wednesday? Yeah, what time though? Oh.
Starts at 5:45.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot for you to,
I can't do that day.
oh, you can't do that, okay. There's Monday as well, no?
Monday, well, Monday is city services till 5:30. I mean, that day isn't great for me.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So it's available?
Let's see, the joint meeting, right, the joint meeting's the 29th. It's, right.
So it would have to be the 3rd, and that doesn't seem to be a good day for,
Point of, well,
separate?
suggestion, we don't do it very often, but if we have just one item, we can meet on Thursday before city council. I mean, it makes for a long, if I would, yeah, you generally wouldn't have, if it's just an item and with no public comment, we've done that before,
That's a
correct?
good idea.
Laura? Or,
Yeah, does that work for, the 5th?
Are we ruling out the third Tuesday because of the reparations commission?
Because
It's
the-
already in council chambers.
Yeah, the hearing room's available.
oh,
Should we just do it,
okay, so we could meet in the
just do it up
hearing-
there?
Yeah,
And
that
then
might be
Nam
a little
would
better,
be able to
less long.
help out too, or?
Sorry?
What about NOM? Do they,
I don't know if Nam would be available, but you can
We could
record
just-
the Zoom.
yeah, and then do it?
It's that new feature, right, where you
Okay.
can turn on, isn't there a new feature where we can turn on,
Saying it's not quite ready to be rolled out.
Okay, but we could just record it, right?
yeah.
Okay, so we're back to the Tuesday, the 3rd, and in,
Third.
Hearing
Room.
room.
Okay.
hearing.
What time?
Is that good for everybody?
5 o'clock?
5 o'clock, is that?
Can we reserve it? Should we- Okay, we'll reserve it right now.
Finance,
And 5's okay
yes.
for you? Is 5
And
better?
that time works for everybody?
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm just putting it down before I forget here. Okay, so, we'll have a meeting on February 3rd at 5 o'clock in the hearing room to discuss this after we have more information. So do we need to take a vote?
Well,
Oh. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Is it still part of the discussion-ish?
yeah.
Since it was mentioned? Sorry. I do well if I have like guidelines. What am I looking for? So I was hearing a lot about, the gathering of the information. Which I always will want to do. I would want to assure Member Robbins that I never would just make a decision, which I was feeling like might be thought that might happen in this committee, and I doubt that would happen in this committee, I think. But if there would be more specifics for me to look for besides globally listening to what the school committee brings forth, and is that the main piece, or
Well-
Mm-hmm.
are there more things? I mean, certainly we're going to hear from
Right.
the mayor.
So,
That would help guide our decision.
yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, one thing I'd be looking for is how much the school committee wants from us, what they want to spend it on, if they're asking for recurring funds, like, positions that would, hiring people, and hearing the mayor's presentation about, we'll get a lot of information then also, and so, I mean, we'll have more information. We don't even know how much they're asking for or why or what. So, do you think, is there anything else you think?
no, that's exactly it. I think I would like to, my question would be, I would ask the mayor and the director, if they're considering fulfilling this mid-year or issuing an order on the mid-year appropriation, where they want to draw those funds from. And yeah, so exactly like what kind of, what areas are these appropriations? Is it personnel? Is it supplies? Is it time limited? Is it, what the ask is? And not only what the ask is, but where the mayor has landed on that ask, and where the mayor sees that money, if anything, coming from. What pockets? Like, is it, special ed stabilization? Is it fiscal? Is it free cash? So that's the questions I would have. Yeah.
And I just want to clarify, the presentation on the 29th, it's not a draft budget, but a financial outlook, correct?
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll have an idea of what's in store for us.
It often frames it for us.
Okay. Is that, anybody else, anything? Okay, I think this is a good idea to wait and have it, and I'm happy we're having it before the next meeting. I feel a lot more comfortable not waiting till March
Right.
to finish, to recommend this and finish, make the full council recommendation. So thanks, everybody, for just working together and agreeing to compromise and do it soon. So do we,
We have a motion on the floor, so then.
yeah, did you have something, Mayor?
Since Director Luscalia was here again, does she have to go to that, does she have to go to that next
We're only
No,
voting on
because-
the
Okay.
26.0. Yeah, we're not discussing the enterprise.
Yeah.
The motion was to postpone the
Just this,
26.003
Yeah.
only, yeah.
unless she wants to come to our meetings, she's always welcome.
And that's been seconded, so we have to vote on that.
Okay, so the motion on the floor was to postpone the vote from tonight till,
For just the
for
item.
for just this one item.
26.003, yeah.
Yeah, 26.003.
Could be a voice vote.
And so we're going to postpone it, and we'll have a meeting on February 3rd, and we'll have the information and talk about it then.
Yeah.
Make a recommendation to City Council on Thursday, whatever, the 5th. Okay, so we can just do a voice vote for,
Yeah.
All in favor?
I, okay. Well, that went well. The next item is 26.004, an order to appropriate enterprise retained earnings to various projects. And this was referred to us also on January 15th. And we have Director Lascalia here to answer any questions. So,
I'd like to make a motion if I can.
oh, sure.
And to do the same thing, to postpone it until we have some more information, a little bit more time to learn about this appropriation. And I understand that Director Lascalia will be here to answer some of the questions, but I had said that I would give the director some questions to submit, to bring back to us as a whole to think about. So I would ask to have that honored if possible.
So just a reminder that this is money for the enterprise fund, so,
Could we pull up the order? I'm sorry. Just I'm having trouble.
yeah, I have it here.
Excuse me.
So
Do you wanna
again,
just-
this is a closed system. These
Yeah.
funds can be used for nothing other than the enterprise for which the retained earnings.
Right, so it's the money from the water, sewer, another sewer, and then stormwater enterprise fund, so, this is just money that's in the system that will be just allocated to different parts of the enterprise fund, but it has to be where the money came from. It's not just, you can't put water in the stormwater and things like that. So Director Lascalia, you want to say anything?
I'm happy to answer questions. I think I made a lot of comments at the last meeting.
Yeah, so just this money, just to clarify, this money is in the enterprise fund, so it has to stay in the enterprise funds, and we can't do anything else with it.
Correct.
Except
These are
put it
closed
back in the
systems. So water is a closed system, sewer is a closed system, solid waste is a closed system, and stormwater is a closed system. So we move the money from retained earnings each year into the projects where it needs to go so that we can continue to keep the systems running. It's just an annual appropriation to enable our operations to continue.
And if this money isn't appropriated, what happens then? Just so people know that, it would just sit in the accounts, or?
Right, so our operations do not run on a calendar year. They don't run on a fiscal year. They run 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We have to keep moving. So the money is not helpful to the ratepayers if it's sitting in retained earnings. The money needs to be appropriated to the projects that are listed on the screen so that I can keep our contractors moving, and so that I can keep our consultants moving, and so that I can keep operations moving. So if it's sitting in a savings account, which is retained earnings, that does not facilitate operations in any of these enterprises that need to continue irrespective of the time of year or whatever the budget cycle is. And because it's a closed system, you're not necessarily needing to wait for something. The money is just moving within the same system.
So one thing we were always concerned about is if this will delay projects or delay people getting paid. So it sounds like that potentially could happen if you don't have money added to your accounts. Is that correct?
Yes, the single most important thing for every resident and business in Northampton is stability within these enterprise funds, whether it's rate stability or operational stability. That's the single most important thing. We want to be nearly invisible. And what happens is if we start bumping into delays with financial appropriations, then I have to slow everything down in order to wait for financial appropriations, and I can't foresee what could potentially go wrong, but I just know that I have to throttle back because I may or may not get a financial appropriation, or the financial appropriation may or may not be delayed. That's not something that I would recommend, and it's not something that I believe serves anyone who relies on these enterprise funds for service.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Robbins.
Yeah, so I did have a bunch of questions, so the senior director is here, and I would be happy to submit them, but I'm not ready to vote positively on this until I knew more, because I do think that we need to be really educated.
Your microphone, please.
All right, we need to be really educated about how we use the city's resources, whether they're in enterprise or they're in stabilization funds. And I have tried to find answers on my own. I've only been able to find budgets and expenses, and the real questions that come, and perhaps you could answer the first one, which would be, can you let me know the difference between retained enterprise funds and the actual master account with enterprise funds in it? What's the difference in that word? So when the money's retained, it automatically goes into the enterprise funds, yeah? It doesn't, okay.
So the closed system works just like the city. Retained earnings is the enterprise's free cash, so that money comes from the operations. So like we talked about free cash, if the rates and base charges come in over budget, that creates retained earnings. Money that is not spent creates, that also goes in and creates the retained earnings, and then the director is trying to move that back into the system to keep the operations moving. So
So my question would be, part of it would be, how much do we have now in retained earnings? So what's the total figure in it? If we're moving money from the retained earnings it goes into your immediate line items for paying for these projects, or it goes back into the general fund for that stabilization fund? that
it
enterprise-
doesn't go into the general fund. It never touches the general fund. It stays in the closed system, but it does, so the director always leaves, our policy has been to leave at least 10% in the retained earnings, free cash, for emergencies, just like as a reserve.
So how much is in there now?
Councilor Robbins, could you just move your microphone a little bit closer? People on Zoom aren't able to hear you. Thank
Is
you.
this better?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
How much is in there now in the retained earnings then? So where we're pulling this money from, what's the total? And then what will be left after we take these monies out in each of those items? And I really would need to have it written down if that's possible, so you can give me that figure tonight, but I have several other questions, so that's why I would ask
Yeah.
for, this little delay until we meet again to make sure that we're really, sort of on board with what we're doing and how we're moving it. It is a lot of money, and it does come from folks' fees and taxes, so we want to be.
Right. And it would be helpful in the future if you have questions, since you've had these questions since the last meeting, if we had them, we could have answered them tonight for you, or brought whatever you needed. Coming to multiple meetings is challenging, so.
I didn't know
Right.
you were coming tonight, so I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
So, yes.
It's usually, my reference is the school committee, where on the agendas, we write down presentations and who's going to present it, because the effort is to make sure that the public knows exactly what's on the agenda and what they can expect and who's going to be there sharing that information. And I understand that's not past practice with city council.
Expectations.
I mean, so we're not presenting, we're here to answer questions, and we are recognized by the charter at any city meeting.
I do understand that, but I didn't know that. I'm actually new to how the agendas work that way, so thank you. So you're here at all of the finance meetings, and you're here to answer questions if we need it, and if we don't need it, you just have to sit there.
It
Yeah.
depends on what's on your agenda, whether there's something that we might be needed for, to answer a question on.
Director LaScalia has to do that too?
No, that's because this is her order for retained earnings. And I want to note, so as Director LaScalia said at the presentation that she did give, for some of these enterprises, we have been sort of saving and preparing for really large capital projects. So that is something that's, work that we've been moving towards, or making sure that we have the funds to be able to meet, these big projects, particularly in water.
Right, and given that they are big numbers, I think it behooves us to just know how much we have, how much we're spending, how much is left. And I had trouble going through the SIP and trying to find what each of these projects was. So being able to delineate, if there's the current project, so it's the sewer enterprise retained and we were explained what the transmission mains was, which I appreciated because I had no idea what that is. So I have a good explanation of that now. And the pump station improvements. I think it helps us to be as granular as we can around how the public knows we are spending this amount of monies, and that you do estimate what those projects are going to cost, and that they are huge amounts of money. So how much is in the funds that we'll be drawing from? How much will be retained in those funds? In the retained enterprise funds, the same thing. How much is left? How much are we drawing out? Maybe even what can we expect to replace that in the future? And how much will you be allocating for each of the years of the SIP? So if we're pulling this out now in FY27, what do you estimate we'll be pulling out in FY28? So it just keeps us informed of where the projects are and where your expert estimations are in terms of the total expenditures. So as you've said before, sometimes it exceeds it, sometimes you spend less than you needed to, sometimes there are additional costs that you weren't aware of. But if you can educate us about that the best you can, that would be super.
But Director LaScalia, you don't get one big bill for a project. You get multiple bills that come throughout the year or over years. Some of these projects have been going on for a couple of years, or will be. You've been saving money for some of them, like the pumps and sewer stuff, and and then you don't pay. They don't finish the project. It's not like your house where you just finish a project. So it's an ongoing process to pay the workers. Is that correct?
It is, and I think I will do what I can to answer your questions. But yes, Councilor Clemmer, you are correct. These are ongoing, everlasting projects. Sewer line replacement is something that we do every year, all year. It never ends. And I could put a number on that of $30 million because those are our needs. Our needs actually exceed $30 million. But at the end of the day, we can only appropriate what we can afford to appropriate. So if you are trying to match the financial order with what's in the capital plan, you are not going to have any success doing that. The numbers won't align. Because it's a closed system, we take the money that is available to us. So in November, when the city's general fund free cash is certified, the enterprise fund free cash is also certified. So DOR tells us what we have for free cash in the enterprise, and it becomes retained earnings in that enterprise. If we have $100, we retain $10, 10% in the retained earnings portion of that enterprise. We take $90 and we move it into the capital needs of the enterprise. That is our financial policy of how we support the enterprises and how we keep the retained earnings account at 10% of the total value of the enterprise. So if the value of the sewer enterprise is $6.177 million, I would want to see 10% of the value of that enterprise in retained earnings not moving. Think of it as a savings account. If something explodes, I have 10% of the total value of the enterprise that we can come to council and say, we're having an emergency and we need this money out of retained earnings. The rest of the free cash or retained earnings moves to projects as necessary. That's just an annual exercise that we do when our free cash is certified by the state. So that, I hope, clarifies one of your concerns around what are the numbers. So the answer around what is the number is 10% of the value of the enterprise is left in each enterprise's retained earnings. These numbers are the balance that are moving to projects.
So it would be really great to have that clarified in terms of the actual number, and then you could do the 10%, but it'd also be good to know what you've spent on it so far. And I understand with the sewers, it's like painting a bridge. You finish and you have to go back and do it again. But keeping track of what we've spent, and again, you do have some sense probably of what you'll have to spend on it next year, and what the balance is of each of those enterprises at those funds at this exact point in time, which I know I have the quarterly one numbers on that, but mostly they're budget related. It's the simple stuff that I know you guys have in your own records, but when we present this, those ginormous amounts of money that say we're always going to need more, it's ongoing, it's just a lot. I'd love us to just be more specific about exactly what those are.
And that's fine. I just want to be clear again that we don't operate on an annual basis. We don't operate on, and this is operations and capital projects, and we don't operate on a fiscal year basis. I mean, I can say, well, from this date to this date, this is what we spent. But if you picked those same dates for the last 5 years, you're not going to see a lot of uniformity year over year because of the way project cycles run, or I have some very large bill that we pay in January for work that was completed in September. So if you are trying to match up year over year, you are not going to find any sort of pattern or consistency if that's what you're looking for.
It's not what I'm looking for. I just want to know what we spent and how we spent it. That's all. And then how much is left after we spent it. It's pretty simple. Yeah. Is that understandable?
It is. I think the mayor could discuss how that should best be presented.
Okay. I mean, if there's another place where I can find that more easily, I'd be glad to access it. But I did try. You had mentioned the DPW 190-page budget and whatever it was. It's broken out into different parts. But for those of us who aren't knowledgeable, we don't really know what line items to look for on that because they're just, they could be sewer this or sewer that, and you're the expert. So breaking that down on, for example, what it would look like for this would be super helpful.
This was Director Nardi.
So for water retained earnings, it was certified at $2,107,499. In this order, we're taking out $1,412,999. It leaves a balance of $694,500. So certified sewer, $1,756,000, $216. The order is broken out. We're taking $569,233 for those two sewer line and the wastewater treatment plant. And then for solid waste, it was certified at $114,823. We are using $50,834. Oh, excuse me. No, I'm sorry. We are not doing that. Stormwater. Stormwater was, solid waste was $114,823, and then stormwater was $260,389. And we are using $60,740.
Where would I go to access that myself?
It is not up, it's not available out there, but I can give it to you in writing.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Councilor Maori, thank you for that, Director Nardi.
Yeah. So, I appreciate Councilor Robbins' question last time about the SIP. And I think that we do hear a lot about, for residents in an educational way, wanting to kind of hold all those things together. And so, the spending with what's in the SIP. And when they come at different times, it's confusing to the public. And I'd like to continue that conversation you had about like maybe different practices of like marking where it is in the SIP or whatever's possible, because I think that's part of it is just being able to kind of hold a bigger picture of the entire budget, the taxpayer money in one kind of in one kind of frame. That said, I'm comfortable issuing a positive recommendation for this tonight, knowing that it will go to City Council, and it'll be another stop for voting and for further questions. And perhaps in that time, if there's any lingering questions or things needed in writing, we could do it so that on that February 5th meeting when this goes back, if we don't delay it, that we could have that conversation. So I'm going to make a motion to positively recommend. There was no second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it just kind of stays there.
Okay.
So this one could have the same thing, so we'll see. A motion to positively recommend 26.004 to council.
I'll second.
Second by Councilor Davis.
And so, sorry, point of information, I'm being bossy tonight. For new counselors, with recommendations, the options are. No, you are.
It was second.
Yeah, yeah. I was just blathering on about something that's tangentially related.
Yeah, so we could.
Just so you know, there's, the recommendations are either positive, negative, or neutral. But you have to make a motion. So if I put a motion to positively recommend, you can only go up or down with that. So if you're someone who really wants to issue something else, then you make your own motion for that, and we vote on it that way. I found that confusing when I first started on council, so I just wanted to.
And it'll still go to council. It's just they'll just say this went
Yeah.
with a positive recommendation or neutral or.
Exactly, and the chair can often, if there's a split vote, may give a little context by saying what the issue was or why we didn't land on something, but that's the discretion of the chair.
We'll see what happens.
So there's motion
Okay,
on
but this is a financial.
No, it's,
it's-
because it's a referral, I believe it's a voice vote too.
voice vote. Okay, so you're up.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstained?
Okay.
And like Director Nardi said, we can send, email or talk, make appointments with any of the department heads to get information, get additional information at any time before meetings. So that just streamlines the process for everybody. Thank you, Director Descalia. Now we have to set a meeting schedule and format for 2026 to 2027. And I would just like to put out there that last term, Councilor Maori was, the way they did it was they had it Wednesdays at 6 if needed. So, this committee, we get things referred to us from City Council. It's going to be busy the next few months, but if there's nothing that needs to be, that nothing is referred to us, then there's no sense in us having a meeting. No, because we'll have plenty of meetings, so, and, sometimes we'll have an emergency meeting too if it's needed, so it's not like we're not having meetings.
Right.
We have them when we have things to work on, and there'll be plenty, believe me. So and you had it on Wednesday. Wednesdays are a nice day because there's no other committees that day. Mondays and Tuesdays, we have city services, there's NESC, transportation and parking. So the month is pretty filled up, so that's why Wednesdays are a good day that's open. So, and you did it. It was just it was the Wednesday in between meetings, right, that we talked about?
Sometimes we would actually have it the day before if there was a holiday.
Yeah.
Or something. But, and we had it at 6, but we could do 5 or whatever. I don't know what works better for everyone in this. It's really about everyone here and Laura. And
Yeah, so, we try to do it maybe the Wednesday of the week between meetings.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
And what time, yeah, I'm curious about,
So,
It's usually the Wednesday after city council.
right.
after, which is
yeah.
also the Wednesday before the next city council,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so we had the meeting last Thursday, so today's Wednesday, right?
Right,
Yeah,
well, now
so-
we already have a meeting planned for,
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
Oh, yeah.
using an example, so like,
Oh,
we had the
sorry,
meeting on
yeah.
Thursday, so this would be the Wednesday after, so since stuff was referred, today's the day, and just kind of stick to that if that's okay with everybody, or if anybody has ideas.
Say that again, so the Wednesday, we're meeting on the 3rd.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's a special one, and then we'll see what happens on the 4th. If we get referred something on the 4th, is the following week the school week, or, no, it's 2 weeks after, so.
Yeah,
So potentially, we could have it the 11th, or, no, the 10th?
The 11th is Wednesday.
Yeah, so we would have it the 11th if we get referred stuff from city council,
yeah.
and so on and so forth, down.
5?
Whatever, just,
Does that work better for you, Laura? Yeah, 5? Yeah.
does that work for
The-
both of you? or-
Is 5 better than 6 for finance for Director Nardi? Is 5 better than 6 or no?
So
Oh,
we're
just
talking
generally
about-
speaking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, so we're talking about just having it the Wednesday after a meeting, so stuff is referred Thursday, we'll have it the following Wednesday, except for special meetings.
yeah.
So Wednesdays so the second and fourth Wednesday, if needed, at 5.
Yeah, so I would just usually just send an email kind of confirming or, oh, we're
Yeah.
having a meeting, oh, there's nothing going on. Because sometimes council, members will give agenda items too. So I would just confirm, but it was good to have a
set
time, kind of a time we knew that generally
of
people
negotiating
aren't,
every
yeah,
week.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and then a lot, at city council too, we'll know if stuff is being referred, so
Yeah.
you'll have a good idea. So we need to vote on that too.
Yeah, do we have to, I don't know, Laura, we don't have to vote on, do?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, not in a subcommittee. Right,
Okay.
good. Yeah. Did I write that third?
If we have,
Yeah,
if we get stuff referred to us.
the
But yeah.
chair will confirm. Upon confirmation from the chair. Okay.
And, okay, that's so the schedule, the budget listening session for fiscal year 2027 was canceled last term because of illness, and so I just want to know how people feel about rescheduling it in February.
Do you mean, should we do it or not, or when to do it? Or
Should we do it or not is the first question, and then we'll get to the part B.
Yeah.
I kind of missed it. I thought it was great. I mean, it's a great place for the public to be able to say, here's what we think about priorities. And it's a little bit late because we'll,
Yeah.
be starting to work on the budget. And we also have mandated meetings on the budget. But I kind of think it can't hurt to do it. And the more opportunities we offer for people to come in and be able to share what they're thinking, the better. So, it's casual, it's interesting, and we do hear from a pretty nice cross-section of folks in town. So if it's not a real,
Sorry.
sort of sacrifice for people to take their time to do that on an evening, I'd certainly welcome it.
Any
I mean,
Thoughts?
I think it's a great idea as well. My question was the timing of it, does it feel like it's so much later than it was going to be? Does that matter or not, I guess, would be something to toss around. Because the whole idea of, I wouldn't want people to feel like, well, I said all these important things, things that are important, but why? Do you know what I mean? Like, just for the sake of having them be heard, but nothing can happen until next year anyway, or something because of the timing. I don't think that's a good feeling for people. It's like, what's the point? I wouldn't want them to feel that way. So that would be just something to consider. But otherwise, I mean, it is a good idea to have people a voice.
And Councilor Maori.
Yeah, so I established this 4 years ago along with Councilor Moulton because we had requests to have the Finance Committee be more proactive ahead of the budget and have more input. So, I mean, ideally, that's why we did the fall or late fall, was because the idea is the budget isn't already, set. And so the way we would do it would be that we would, there really is just a listening session. It's not a back and forth session. Sometimes we've had Director Nardi there to clarify questions. I wonder if that, I kind of also like the idea of it just being, and if they have questions, we can follow up with them or something like that. I think sometimes when Director Nardi's there, it gets off, it kind of starts taking a different turn, and but I'm open to either one. And so what we would do is we would write down, Stan, I'm going to miss Stan, his report, because he would write excellent notes, and we would and then Laura would also kind of summarize them, and then we would send it like a memo of to generally the mayor, although one thing to think about, and I was kind of having a slight discomfort about, is it was I think it was last time, it was a lot of school comments, which is fine, and but in terms of managing expectations, as you were saying, we do send those comments to the school committee and the superintendent, so they get to the right place, because we don't council, we don't want to give the impression council has some sort of power over line items of the schools. And I did have the thought, like, if it remains, we got to move with the times. Like, if it's becoming all school comments, then maybe we do want to think of a different format, or maybe school committee wants to, I don't know, we can have that discussion. If it's all just one department, the first couple of years we did it was really from all sorts of, it was ideas. It wasn't just concerns or complaints. It was a lot of great ideas. And then it kind of went more towards the schools, which is fine, but I did have the discomfort about managing expectations, because I don't want to give the impression council can kind of micromanage the school committee. So we can, we could do it and then see, how that lands with us, and maybe we can, I'll just say that it was an idea we had and we've played it, and I'm happy pivoting to meet the needs of our community now. And if it looks different, that's fine too. But I'm willing to give it a whirl, and we would just have to say, this is what it would do this year, since it's not before the budget. It's really, I do find that I hear the voices of community members, and I personally carry that with me throughout the budget season. And so that's what it would do this year. We wouldn't have so much time to kind of get it to the departments before they, did their budgets. But yeah, I agree, and I think it's about managing, just kind of being very authentic about what to folks who want to speak. But look, this is what we do with this information. We make a memo, we send it to the appropriate place. We hold on to your priorities during but that's all we can really do. And we don't answer questions. We're really there to listen.
Can I
Yes.
say, Madam Chair, that if we do go ahead with the budget listening session, I think it would be a great idea to sort of say what you just said. Like, maybe acknowledging that the timing of it is a little bit different than originally intended. We love to hear about all aspects of the city, sort of reminding people about all the many budget needs around the city, and not saying that one can't come, because people are going to say what's on their mind, and bringing up the idea of the ideas part, and maybe because folks don't know that would be a forum for
Right, that's a good point.
their creative idea, like whoever those folks were from 4 years ago that could we try it this way, or whatever they said. Just make a suggestion, just an idea.
Okay, I think in this climate, I think it's a good idea to do this, even though it's late. One thing that some other committees do is they ask people to not repeat. So if they're, if everybody's saying the exact same thing, maybe the next person can just summarize it instead of going through the whole spiel. And that'll also give people more time to talk. So that's a suggestion, and just we would let people know that it is late and things are in motion already too. So when we put it on the agenda, I think that'll be out there and on your social media and your listening session. You could announce it.
So it actually wouldn't be after the budget. I mean, I think what I'm thinking about is doing it kind of soon, so the budget won't have been presented yet, and it gives people an opportunity to weigh in as we start our considerations on it. I'd be happy to work with someone else on the committee on the format of it. I think what you've offered are really great considerations, and we can put together a structure that will work well for the period of time that's there. Rachel, you used to have it on Zoom.
No.
Was it
That was during the pandemic.
Last year it was.
Yeah, I think last year
or
it
the
was,
year before.
last time it was it was hybrid, but it started off on Zoom, I think because of the pandemic.
It was the pandemic. I remember having
Yeah.
a long conversation with Mary Ann on it. It was really,
Yeah.
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 But that's an option too. So just, it
Yeah.
would just be, on Zoom, and then it's a little bit more casual, and it's not versus the people who are in the room versus the people who just want to visit us from their homes. And then you can facilitate it by calling on people and, hearing what they have to say. But it's sort of an unanchored time in terms of it wasn't saying, oh, you only have 2 minutes. It was saying, exactly, do you have an idea? Do you have a suggestion? Do you have a thought? But be mindful of your time. And then the facilitator being able to say in that nice way, thanks very much. Yeah.
Yeah. I said one more comment.
Okay, so should we figure out a?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I just had one more comment about that. But
No, I was just going to say since it seems like everybody's thinks it's an important thing to do for the community. Should we do it? Figure out a time now, or should we do it by email?
we could do it by email, or we could do it at our
I
next
just
meeting.
want to be respectful. Of
Yeah, we could
Bernardi's
do
time,
it
too, because she has to speak to the next agenda item.
Yes, you're right. So, yeah, and I was just going to say that we might want to consider a 3-minute. I find this is one time when people are explaining complicated ideas that 3 minutes
I
is
think we
actually.
should have a time
so
limit,
that's
too.
up to, we can
Yeah,
talk about that.
I
But that
agree
was
about a
just, I
time
just
limit.
want to remember to say that. And we could, I like the Zoom idea, actually. There is something about that that's different. And we could either, we need to decide if we want Director Nardi there or not, because that will change when and how we do it.
Yeah.
I don't actually, and I'd love, if Director Nardi wants to say, it's always great to have that resource. I think, I kind of also like the idea of just council, constituents, and then, we can try to get questions answered. But, I'm open to anything, and
we
we
could
could
discuss-
decide next, we could decide our meeting next time, or you could just send an email with some times.
Yeah, I think I'll send an email out to
Okay.
people, and
That's
I think Director Nardi does not need to be there. I think she's given
Yeah.
us, a lot of time with extra meetings, and
Can I just add, so we actually don't recall getting a memo. Director Nardi would take notes that she'd share with me, and she and I would have a conversation, but, Laura, did you?
Do summaries?
Oh,
Did I miss? I know I distributed.
No, you sent them out.
I thought I sent it. I'll have to look back.
okay.
I honestly don't remember.
you talking about the
I did
questions?
do a,
It was sweeping themes. Stan would kind of categorize themes. And if it was about schools, he may have, we might send it. I think we always send it to you, Mayor, but we'd also send the school stuff to Dr. Bonner. Anything around the city, not the schools, we would, I think, believe that we sent the director. And it was just it was a summation document with highlights of
Okay.
what residents said. So you may have,
Yeah, so just if Director Nardi is not going to be there, if,
right.
if
Yeah.
there's some way
Yeah,
we can
and if,
get
I think she
She
information.
doesn't need to be there, because,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
And I'm happy to be the new Stan, because I'm really good at taking that down too.
Oh, good, that's right.
Yeah.
Good continuation, yes.
So I just want to wrap it up because Director Nardi and the mayor and our time. So we're going to have it, we'll talk about it at the next at the February 4th meeting or 5th? Third
Yeah.
Wednesday meeting, and we could discuss it then.
We'll check in. Okay.
Okay, so, there's, the next agenda item is discussion of independent audit procurement process. So we're gonna have to, the auditor's contract is up this year, so we're gonna have to put it out, decide if we want to look for a new auditor or just, it's good to see what's out there. So I asked Director Nardi and Laura to talk about it so we can,
Right,
just because we have to get it moving because the deadline's coming up.
right.
Pretty
So
fast.
this is really just to put this on the Finance Committee's radar as a decision that will need to be made since we're in the third year of a 3-year contract with Scanlon, and the council has to award a new contract by September 15th, 2026. So, because the full procurement process, if the council decided to issue one, would require issuing an RFP. It's sort of a multi-month process and would need to begin in the spring. That's why I'm putting it on the agenda at this time. But there's no legal requirement for a procurement process, a full procurement process. There's specific professional services like legal and accounting are exempt from the state procurement law, but it is a best practice recommended by the Department of Revenue and the Government Finance Officers Association. So, it's the largest item in the city council budget. $60,000 is budgeted this year. It's like $54,000 for the examination of basic financial statements of the city. There's different components. There's a audit of the retirement account, and then there's the federal audits, and then there's some school end-of-year reports that they do. So, but the city council's share of it is 60. But, and if the city council, for whatever reason, decided not to do a full procurement, I would simply get quotes from Scanlon for a new 3-year contract. So, so as I said, a decision doesn't need to be made tonight, but I just wanted to put it on the committee's radar. And I could send out more information. There's the RFP that was actually issued in 2015, so you guys could take a look at it. But
Thank you. Director Nardi, do you want to talk about it?
No, I agree. I do think it's good practice to go out and do bids for this work. I think, one, we always want to make sure we're still getting the best price for the work. I do want to say that I have advocated last time, and I still have some concerns with staying with Scanlon because the financial team has turned over. We want to make sure that they are actually auditing years where the new person is actually handling all the work. So for multiple years. So again, we have had, turnover in these jobs, and I want to make sure that the auditing firm knows what our books look like. It is easier for them to find something that is different, that may have changed during that time, quicker. Because when a new audit firm comes in, they ask for different things, and they're getting to learn their new municipality. And so they may not be doing as, I'm not sure this is the right term, but as deep a dive, because they're trying to figure everything out, and they might not know where to look. Where I do feel like having Scanlon again would help us just make sure that things still look like they have looked, because we have had very clean audits. We are good we're financially sound, and our audits have been clean, and I want to make sure that continues. So to me, that's an important piece. So I just want to put that out there. And also, I mean, you like Laura said, you can always go out and get quotes. And you can get quotes from multiple firms. You don't have to do a full bid. But if you are actually looking for another auditing firm, you do want to do qualifications. You want to actually meet with them. I would think you want to interview them, find out. But then I would also encourage you to talk with the finance team to figure out what's important to us as well, if you're really looking for a new firm. So I respectfully ask for that. And then I just want to mention one other thing. One of the reasons that they encourage you to go out is because you want a new set of eyes. There used to be concern that you built relationships with your auditor, and they may not be looking at things quite as in depth. So one of the things is you want to make sure your auditing firm is changing their lead person, so that the lead person is pulling different things and looking at different things, and then that person is dealing with, the city auditor. A new person is dealing or communicating with the city auditor, the treasurer, collector, the assessor. So there's different people. And that's true for the schools, too. A new person goes and works with the schools. So it's kind of new for them, but the overall firm still knows what those books look like. So if somebody has a question, they can be like, is this new? Is this, there's my 2 cents.
And then you said Scanlon does do that. They have a new person looking at our books every year.
Yes, we have a new lead person. Yeah.
And then also, when we spoke about this, they're local. They're a local company, which is a plus because they're here and they can come to talk to us, which they do every year. And then also when you call them and have questions, it's not an extra charge for.
Right. So one of the big things is for Scanlon and Associates is local. Also they don't bill us per hour. So all of the finance departments call our auditor often. We want to make sure we're doing things properly. We want to make sure we're following the accounting rules and regulations. When we get something new, a new grant, especially like when the ARPA funds came, we were like, help us. Like, what are we looking at? Where do we put the money? Are we doing things properly? Scanlon and Associates always is available for us, answering our questions to make sure up front we're doing it right. So I like that partnership. I worry there's a lot fewer firms than there used to be. Laura can speak to this as well. And so I am concerned if you have a larger firm that is not local, that may change. And that is a big resource. And that's why I say I hope that you would reach out to us to say what's important, because that is a big component, is that relationship where we have the ability to talk before something happens, or if we have questions and concerns where they're not charging us for every call, and to show up and have big conversations with us. So,
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Maori.
Yeah, thank you. You just liberated part of my brain. Director Nardi, I've had this thought. I think I email you or maybe the mayor and Councilor Moulton, that I remembered something about that you're supposed to switch to new eyes. And in my head, I kept thinking, does that mean we have to switch firms? And then you said, no, we don't, there's no stipulation that we have to. But that's what it is. It's that within that same firm, they rotate the person. And so now my mind can be free. So thank you very much. It was just kind of mired down, waiting for the answer.
Councilor Robbins?
Yeah, and I remember you sharing this last year, and it definitely resonated, but I don't remember what the follow-up was. So they did assign us someone new last year?
So as Laura said, there's the city component, there is the school component, there's the federal, for our federal grants, and then there is the retirement board. So I don't know that he does it every year, but he does switch out people so that they're dealing with different folks as the lead on doing the whole audit.
So did that happen last year? Do you remember?
I believe it did, yes.
And also, I mean, having watched those, the Auditor Scanlon deliver the reports over the last few years, I thought they were very interesting. But what I missed were the questions from the Finance Committee. I felt like maybe we need to come in more informed about what we're asking and making better use of the time that we have the auditor with us. And, there are things. If you're watching it on Zoom, you're sort of going, ask about, and maybe we need to have a pre-meeting when we do that about that. And also to say, Laura, thank you so much for the timeline on this and the other documents that you shared with us, because they were really, really helpful.
Councilor Maori?
Yeah, and I always I kind of always crave more information than the structure of that type of audit can give. Like more, what I'd like to see is assessments and evaluations of kind of how we're spending our money. And that's really limited in that kind of audit as well, which, and maybe we need those from some other source. But that, I remember my first year on finance that I was like thinking we were going to get all this information, like more evaluatory information. And it's not that kind of audit. But anyway,
Maybe we could ask for that, though. 'cause
yeah, maybe there's
they
some.
know a lot
wiggle
when they
room.
come. You know, they see a lot. They're in a lot of other towns and other cities and other districts, and being able to build on that information would be really helpful. Or just take them out for a drink.
Yeah, no, we did. We had great conversations with.
Yeah, we'll have
Tom.
time to get into the weeds more about this. Yeah.
We're not, then the finance committee, we don't hire them. It wouldn't be us picking ourselves or the whole school committee? I mean, city council?
The contract is with the council and Scanlon and Associates, so.
But I do want to talk to Director Nardi and the finance people, because they are the people that have to work with them, and they know what questions to ask too, and have a better idea what we need, and, you know, what's good, what's beneficial, what's not good. So, you know, I would do want you included in the discussions, and I appreciate your offering to do that.
Yeah.
And that was just informational, so we can move on. Any new business? Okay, so can we get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we made it through the first meeting.
Congratulations.
Well done.